I don't need the spotlight. All I need is the remote control so I could turn off Diana's TV screen. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Raphael and I am here to review part 1 of the reunion to the Real Housewives who look like a Kardashian of Beverly Hills. We start the reunion off with everybody arriving to the place of filming. They're all in their rooms, they're all getting glammed up and getting ready. Eventually, one by one, they all come out to the set. And of course, like every other reunion, we're gonna talk about their looks, the seating placement, and the set design. So the set design, I was very confused as to why the theme was the Beverly Hills Hotel, when I'm pretty sure that wasn't any type of topic this entire season. I'm shocked that it wasn't anything Aspen related, like anything snowy or maybe like a cabin or something in the background, similar to how the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City do their reunions with the snow and everything. But maybe the reference went over my head. And can you imagine if instead of the Beverly Hills Hotel, it was the Hilton Hotel design? Oh, you know, Lisa Rinna would have walked out on stage, looked around at the set, and just burst into tears. So we start off with Sutton. Sutton is sitting on the very far end of the left side of the couch. And I mean, at the beginning of the season, I would have said, oh no, Sutton already has the first chair intact. Everybody keeps coming at her. Erica, Lisa, Kyle, Diana, they all keep aiming at Sutton. But as the season went on and towards the end, I could see why Kyle and Lisa Rinna have the first chair, especially with the whole sister drama going on between Kathy and Kyle. As for her outfit, Sutton, she goes on to say that it's not Dolce & Gabbana, that it's by somebody named Perry Dundas. And I'm looking at it like, it's more like, Perry, you're dumb for making this. I mean, when she stands up, the outfit is just not cute. I'm just like, well, I mean, it's pink and it's sparkly, I'll give it that. But for the most part, Sutton, this is a big no. But then when she sits down, it's a little bit, more cutesy, I guess, I suppose. Her ponytail is nice. Then we move over to Garcelle, and she's sitting in between Kyle and Sutton. Fair. As for her outfit, when I first saw the picture of her standing up, I was like, Garcelle, what the hell are you wearing? You gave us good looks this entire season every now and then you show up to the reunion like this? What is going on? But then when I see her at this reunion and she's sitting down, I'm like, wait a minute, she's wearing a whole different outfit. What kind of magic trick is this? She even tweeted out saying that her outfit is not typically something that you should see it standing up. It's more like a sitting down outfit, which I never really realized that outfits could be like that. I'm like, yeah, because Garcelle, she looks good in the outfit sitting down. Now, when she's standing up, it's a whole different thing. It's like a 2-for-1 special. Garcelle, if I was you, I just wouldn't get photographed standing up. I would have been like, oh, you want to take a picture of me? Yeah, no, you have to take a picture of me with this couch. So then we move over to Kyle. Kyle, she's the first chair, rightfully so. At the beginning of the season, I would have been like, I'm not sure. But then towards the end, things got heated between her, Lisa, and Kathy. I can see why she's the first chair. As for her outfit, I mean, Kyle, to me, she's not known for fashion, but I'm looking at this like, Kyle, what's going on? I'm looking at the dress. I'm like, why does it have straps? It looks like she's going to high school with a backpack on. I'm convinced that her dress has a parachute in it, just in case if things get too hot for her. She's like, okay, I'm ready to take off. Boosh, boosh. And it just blasts her out of the reunion in 2 seconds. Her hair wasn't really flattering with the dress because it was just too much going on, especially with those big ass antenna earrings that she had on. I'm like, what is going on here? I believe during the reunion, one of them actually failed. That was the actual sign right there, Kyle, to take them off. Then we move over to Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna, she has the other first chair, again, rightfully so, with the drama going on with Kathy. As for her look, I'm like, wait a minute. This isn't Lisa Rinna. This is Larsa Pippen from the Housewives of Miami. And she's just trying to sneak her way onto the show because this is not Lisa Rinna. Who is this? Who is this woman? I'm looking at her, I'm like, the hair is okay, I guess, if I have to say something nice. The dress isn't bad, but it's not like something that you wear to the reunion. This is more something like that you wear, when you're going out to cheat with somebody's husband. And on top of that, I'm looking at this and I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on, this looks very familiar. This bitch is wearing my outfit. And on top of that, the cherry on top to her look is that she's wearing a cross necklace. And I'm like, I know you don't have the nerve to wear a cross necklace to this reunion, knowing all the hell that you caused this entire season. Now you want to be saved? Absolutely not. Like, that necklace, take that off. It's not going to save you because Kathy Hilton, she's on her way to this building right now in her Uber XL. Then we move over to Erica and her look. The best one. She looks so, so good. The dress, the hair, the shoes, everything about the look was so, so good. Erica looks exactly what Cinderella would look like after a breakup. Like Cinderella was just like, oh, you know what? Fuck the prince and fuck your glass slippers. I'm done with this relationship. I'm having a hot girl summer. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut up this long dress up to like right here up to my thigh. I'm going to get some nasty high heel stilettos. Fuck those glass slippers, those kitten heels. And I'm going to, re-dye my hair and I'm moving to Miami. Like, she looks so, so good. And fun fact, so the night before the cast photos of the reunion looks leaked online, so the night before that, the day before that, I was looking at this exact same dress. I had it in my hands. And I remember looking at it and I'm like, wow, this dress is so beautiful. And again, I had no idea that Erika Jayne was going to wear it to the reunion. I was looking at the dress and I'm like, wow, it is beautiful. And it's very heavy. So I give, Erika kudos for sitting there for like all these hours while they filmed this reunion and just sitting there because it's a very stiff dress and it's very hard because it's like little glasses of shards all over the dress. So when I saw it the next day on Erika Jayne, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same dress that I just saw yesterday. And I don't know, it was kind of freaky to me. It's almost like I manifested this dress on Erika Jayne. Technically, I guess I'm Erika's new stylist, but she just doesn't know it yet. So she looks good. She looks the best one. To me, she's the best one dressed at this reunion. Then we move over to Dorit. Dorit, I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. At first, I'm like, I don't know. She looks like an expensive bed sheet, but I'm not sure. Like, I like it, but I don't. I like it, but I don't. I think it's the color that I really love. And that's what's fooling me into thinking that I like this look because I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of like a bed sheet on top of her. Like, she just kind of woke up out of bed like, oh my God, PK, it's the reunion. I need to wear something. Give me your blanket. Hold on, let me put this on. It's so chic. Hold on, let me dye my hair really quickly. Let me twirl it a little bit and put it in a ponytail. Hold on, can you give me some Chanel earrings and Chanel jewelry? Okay, it's so chic. I'm ready for the reunion. Like, I'm pretty sure that was her mind frame going into this reunion, but, I guess it's okay. Again, the color is what's blinding me. So then we move over to Crystal. Crystal looks really, really pretty in her dress. Again, it's a big, it's a step up from her reunion, from her first reunion, that purple dress that she wore. It's very simple, but it looks good on her. She looks very nice and pretty. And I think yellow is definitely her color. She's the second best dress at this reunion to me. And honestly, I mean, Crystal, with the way they try to gang up on you and, really come for you later on in the reunion, if I was you, I would have had some sneakers, some sweatpants, and a tank top ready on standby. Because the way they were trying to come at you, nope, I would have just started swinging. As for Cherie, oh, wait. She's not at the reunion. Andy starts off by asking everybody how they're doing. He stops at Lisa Rinna and she's like, well, I'm doing good. I have this little bird right here from Mexico and it represents Lois. Now, part of me is like, oh, that's so nice. That's so cute. Obviously, she's still mourning her mom's death. But then the other part of me is thinking, Lisa Rinna, are you trying to start out this reunion by, giving Andy this, oh, look what I'm doing. This is so cute. I'm still going through it. Please go easy on me. Don't ask me too many tough questions. I know I look bad this entire season, but please be soft on me. That's the other part I'm thinking. I'm like, are you trying to manipulate this narrative? I'm not sure. She goes on to say, oh yeah, the angels, I know that the angels right now, they're protecting me. And I'm like, the angels? And I'm not even trying to poke fun at Lois or her death or anything like that, but that the angels that she's speaking of are probably looking at this episode like, babe, come on over. Lisa Rinna just mentioned this on TV. Yeah, she said something about we're protecting her from something. Do you know what she's talking about? Me neither. I'm Team Garcelle and Sutton, but let's keep watching. We're basically famous. They start talking about the Homeless Not Toothless Foundation, and Andy's like, okay, everybody, let's pronounce it correctly. It's Homeless Not Toothless. And I'm like, regardless whether they said it right or wrong, it's still a terrible name for a foundation. But Andy, he goes on to play a prank on them, and he's like, okay, we're about to have a very chic conversation with somebody, so make way for your special guest, Jamie Lee Curtis. And then he's like, oh no, just kidding, she's not here. But then 2 seconds later, she comes out, and I'm like, wow, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's really here. Run, Jamie, run while you still can. You don't want to be part of this toxic cast. But she sits down, and I believe that she gets the first chair. And I'm like, wow, look at Jamie Lee Curtis, her first season, and she got first chair. For next season, she's probably going to be Center Diamond or Center Pumpkin in her case. But Andy, he goes on to ask her about the Halloween movie that's about to premiere this week, which, by the way, I'm going to watch tomorrow. I'm so excited to see Kyle and Jamie Lee Curtis. And, he continues on having this conversation about the movie. And I'm like, is this the Real Housewives or the Real Housewives of Halloween? What are we doing? And how much did they pay Bravo to sponsor this movie? Because every other commercial was Jamie Lee Curtis and Kyle talking about the movie back and forth. At this point, just give her and Michael Myers a diamond for next season. conversation. You know, since they want to be the topic of conversation. Then again, I don't want to see that neither because, ooh, I could only imagine. Imagine if Jamie Lee Curtis was to actually join the cast and Michael Myers as well. I could already picture Kyle gaslighting Jamie Lee Curtis in a sit-down one-on-one like, Jamie, you know, I know we've been friends since I was a child, but I don't believe that Michael Myers really came after you. I think that you're accusing him of all these fake murders, and I don't believe that it's true. You're a fucking liar, Jamie. Like, I could just picture, and I could picture Lisa Rinna sitting down with Michael and Jamie, like, Jamie, I feel like you lied on Michael's reputation and you tried to take him down. You're not gonna get away with this. And Kyle agrees. Like, I could just picture it too vividly, but they're talking. Jamie Lee Curtis, she's talking about the movie, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but is it me or just every time she talks about the movie, it's like she's talking about something way deeper than what it is. I'm like, lady, it's just a Halloween movie, because she's like, you know, this movie was just really, it was really so passionate, and, you know, it's just so much trauma and so much, you know, back and forth, and just, you know, the humility with life. Life is just such a precious thing, and you have to really cherish it. And I'm like, we're talking about a Halloween movie. She goes on to tell them that she also changed the name of her charity because the show had a huge impact with Dorit and her conversation that she had about everything being chic. She now has named it the Chic Children's Charity Hospital, something like that, but it's cute. And she was like, you know, I also named my wind chime after Dorit. And I'm like, oh, nobody's probably gonna buy it because of that, but okay. So she also goes on to say, well, I have a gift for everybody. And Dorit, she's so excited. She's like, oh my God, I'm gonna get a new Louis Vuitton bag. And if I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, she's about to give us a gift. Maybe she's about to give us free movie premiere tickets for the movie Halloween. Something's good, right? But no, she goes on to say, well, I got everybody pumpkins. But it had their faces carved into it. And I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cute. She goes on to say, yeah, you could take it home. If I was Sutton and I was sitting and I was watching these pumpkins come out, I'm like, wait a minute, Diana, there's the Diana pumpkin. Oops. Oh man, she can't take hers home now. It's on the floor. It's smashed. What can we do about it? It was an accident. Oh, speaking of Diana, she's not even here. I forgot to mention that Andy has said at the beginning that she wasn't feeling good because of, 19, and she's not going to be there. I think she was in Hawaii at the time, and she wasn't feeling good, and that's why she's not going to be at the reunion, but she will be there later on. But Jamie Lee Curtis, she gives everybody pumpkins, and it was a cute little gift. It was nice, to see her interaction and to see Dorit. Dorit is just, you could tell that Dorit really genuinely admires Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, she's just looking at her like, I really appreciate that, Jamie Lee Curtis. I really love you so much. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, she's escorted out. So Andy, he's like, okay, can I ask a stupid question? And then Erica Jane, she speaks up and she's like, well, don't you always ask a stupid question? Ooh, Andy, what are you gonna say about that? Andy just laughed it off. If I was Andy, I would have looked at Erica like, oh, you think everything I ask is stupid? How about I ask you, do you think that you're coming back for next season? Do you think that that's funny? I would have fired her on the spot. Andy moves the conversation over to Garcelle, and he starts talking about her son, Jax, and all the hateful and racist comments that he received on his Instagram. There's this one specific comment that I won't repeat because it could be triggering, and because it does trigger Garcelle. She gets emotional about it, and she also lets us know that her son, Jax, has received pictures of her photo shoot with Playboy. And I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like, it is never, ever, ever that serious for anybody to do such a thing to anybody. Like, again, you may not like Garcelle, you may not like Diana, you may not like Lisa, Erica, Sutton, anybody across the Housewives franchise, but it's just never that serious to take it so personal to try to cause that type of harm to somebody. So Andy continues on by asking Garcelle, do you think that the bots that attacked Jax online were brought by somebody in the circle group? Garcelle surprisingly says yes, but she doesn't say any names. I'm assuming because it's still an open case and she can't really say too much legally, but she also goes on to say that the reason why she thinks that is because the person who probably bought them probably thought, if I attack her son or her family, it's probably gonna run her off the show. She's not gonna want all this attention focused on her son. And I'm like, interesting, because when everybody was speculating that it was Diana, I was the one that said, I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't think it's really her. I don't think she's smart enough to use a phone. But now, after seeing Diana's behavior later on in this reunion, it has me second guessing her. It also has me side-eyeing Lisa Rinna and Erica Jane because they were sitting there so quietly and nervous as if they knew something. And I'm like, interesting and very telling. And then Andy, Andy, as much as I appreciate his speech about saying, we don't condone hate and all this and all that and all this and all that, at the same time, I'm like, Andy, were you not just in Lisa Rinna's comments 2 days ago when she put on the caption, oh, I'm the biggest bully in Hollywood or whatever, and you were in the comments, what were you doing? You put the clapping emoji, aka condoning her behavior this entire season and confirming that she is a bully in Hollywood. So it's just like, you say one thing, but then you do another online. So which one is it? The next topic is about Dorit and this robbery. And I said it before and I'll say it again, but I don't believe it. I think it's a bunch of BS and a bunch of lies. I wish I could think otherwise, but I don't. Andy, he asked her, so how have you been feeling ever since that moment, ever since that night? Dorit, she goes on to say, well, that was a very triggering night for me, and it was a lot for me to process right now. It was just a lot. It really was. I had to think, as a mama, what would I do to protect my babies? My babies are my priorities. So I gave them everything that they wanted. I led them to my closet, and I had this really, really, really nice fur jacket that I was actually going to wear in Aspen, but, I couldn't wear it because they took it. But, it was a really, really, really traumatizing moment, and I had to think, as a mama, what I could do to be a good mama. So I did everything that... Hold on, Andy. Yes? PK. Yeah, I know. Yes. Yeah, I know. I'm telling them everything that you told me to say. Yeah, thank you, PK. Okay. I love you, Baba. I love you. But yeah, so Andy... Am I boring you now? Am I boring you? I'm like, Andy, you're so disrespectful. Like, why would you yawn? I mean, I get it. You yawned in her face the last reunion. But again, a second time, the same moon. He asked her, what made you ask the robbers for your cell phone? Dorit, she goes on to say, well, I was very compliant with everything that they wanted. So I told them, as a good mom, at least give me my cell phone. And I'm like, okay, with that way of thinking, so what? If you were to ask them for breakfast, to make you breakfast, they're supposed to do it just because you were nice and compliant? Like, Dorit, it's not making sense. I'm not sure. It's looking a little fishy. But just when we were about to get somewhere, Miss Halloween herself, Kyle Richards, she jumps in it and she's looking at Dorit and she's like, I really hope that you get through this, Dorit. No, like, stay strong. So, Andy, let me tell you. So, the robbers that robbed my house, they actually contacted me recently. I'm like, Kyle, we could get to your robbery in a second. Like, let Dorit have her 2 seconds of storytelling or, fantasy storytelling, whatever she's doing over there for a moment. But no, she has to make it about herself. She goes on to say that the robbers who robbed her house, they contacted her for money. She actually sent them money, but then they were like, oh, we don't know if you're going to contact the police, so we don't know. And I'm like, well... All right, Kyle, all right. The focus gets turned over to Crystal, and trigger warning, we're about to talk about eating disorders. Andy, he asks her, so why do you think it was so important for you to share to the world that you had an eating disorder? Crystal, she goes on to say that culturally, Asians don't really share too much about their personal life, and she wanted to break that cycle, and she wanted to show the world that this is how she deals with an eating disorder. Andy, he furthers it up by saying, well, we all found out that you also binge and purge your food, so is that a reason why on last season's trip, when Sutton walked in on you without knocking on the door, is that why you freaked out? Were you in the middle of doing that? And I'm like, I don't know, part of that was just like, Andy, I don't think that you should be asking that question. But Crystal, she's like, no, but it all contributes to the same issue, the eating disorder, where, she's not insecure about her body, but she doesn't feel comfortable in her body because of her eating disorder. So then this was the moment where Andy, he was talking to Crystal, and then he directed it over to Kyle for 2 seconds. And Kyle, she did not see it coming because Andy was just like, so Kyle, it's okay for you to share that you had an eating disorder when Crystal was expressing that she had one, but why is it not okay for Sutton? I'm like, ooh, Andy, keep going. He's like, why is it not okay for Sutton to admit that she had a miscarriage when Diana was also talking to her that she had a miscarriage? Kyle did not know what to do. That thing that I said at the beginning of the review with her dress, she was like, come on, where's the parachute? She was like, she's the producer on the show, but she could not think of anything. So what did she do? She had to throw herself underneath the bus. So she was like, fuck. Look over there. Like, Kyle could not come up with nothing. So she was just like, it was wrong. I had tequila in me. I had drinks and stuff, and I just didn't handle that whole situation properly. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're blaming your trash behavior on alcohol. But yet, you, Dorit, PK, and Maurice here were just laughing at Erica and saying that, it was okay for her to be drunk and curse at Jax, but that's okay. But now we admit that being underneath the influence is not okay if you're, doing trash-ass behavior. Interesting, Kyle, interesting. But I'm like, wow, Andy, 2 points for you, finally. So then he moves it over to Erica. He's like, Erica, why it was not okay for you to tell Crystal, that she should take a laxative. Why did you say that? Erica, she's like, yeah, I mean, in the moment, I thought, that's what you say. I was just trying to help her. And I'm like, you were trying to help her? I mean, all right, Erica, but she goes on to say, yeah, but then I realized after that, that's not something that you say. So then he moves it over to Dorit. Everybody was getting it. I'm like, finally, Andy, you're doing something right. So Dorit, he asked her, so Dorit, you were basically gossiping about Crystal's eating disorder to the group behind her back, and she didn't really give you that permission. Crystal, how do you feel about that? Crystal, she was like, yeah, I felt really hurt. I don't think that was cool. That was not right. You were basically gossiping, Dorit. Dorit, she was caught off guard as if she didn't know what she was doing. She was like, hold on, my baby. You really thought that I was gossiping behind your back? I would never do such a thing. I'm your best friend to the end. Like Chucky, I would never do that to you. What are you talking about? No. Do you want one of my Chanel earrings? Like, I'm so sorry, my baby. I would never, ever, ever do that again. And I'm like, well, okay, at least she apologized or whatever. But I'm like, damn, Andy, he was coming at everybody with the questions. I was still gagged at Kyle just sitting there like, yeah, that was me. Next thing you know, Kyle, Lisa, Erica, and Dorit became like piranhas towards Crystal the second that Andy asked her. So, about these dark comments that you said that Sutton supposedly made, what was that? Crystal, why did she even bother answer? Because the rest of the cast, they were already on standby. Crystal, she went on to say, well, I mean, yeah, these comments that Sutton, they were very dark to me. Again, to her, to Crystal, they were dark to her. She's like, yeah, they were dark to me, but I just don't want to repeat it. I just don't feel like it's really worth it to be out there or anything. Why did she even say that? Because Larsa Pippen and Cinderella, they were like, why not? Why not? You need to say it because you're painting out Sutton to be a bad person. Larsa Pippen, all of a sudden, now she cares about Sutton and she's like, Crystal, you're trying to paint out Sutton to be a racist and to be this bad person by covering up whatever you're trying to hide. And at the end of the day, it's probably all a bunch of lies. She probably never said anything bad. And I'm like, since when do you or Erica care about Sutton and her image? If anything, both of you were trying to take her down this entire season. Now, all of a sudden, you want to be Captain Save-A-Ho and you want to be like, oh, Crystal, no, you're doing too much by saying that she had these dark comments. I think people forget how Sutton was behaving at the beginning of last season. And they seem to forget all her entire behavior of, oh, I don't see color. And then her acting like a complete Karen and crying and having all these tantrums at the beginning of the season of last season, just because, oh, she tried to take Erica down. Now people seem to forget that. No, I still remember that. So I feel like there is some type of validation to what Crystal is saying. On top of that, I'm not gonna sit here and watch all these white women and this white man, Andy, try to tell Crystal, this Asian woman, what she feels and what is wrong and what is not right, and how she should be presenting somebody else, and what is racist and what is not. No, that is not happening. I did not see that. And again, I know that a lot of people don't see it for Crystal and they think that she's lying and she's making a mold out of nothing. But no, I'm leaning more towards Crystal. It's just Crystal, I feel like she was kind of losing me all over the place because she was kind of like all over the place with her story. But I feel like it was because everybody kept jumping in. So she had to restart her story. But she kept it together for the most part. But no, they were chewing her up. I'm like, come on, Crystal, fight, do something. Like, she's just sitting there like a sitting duck. And then even Dorit took a punch at her. Dorit was just like, well, I just feel like, the whole situation started with Garcelle. Garcelle asked you, and she said, regardless of whatever way Sutton answered last year, you were still going to say that she was that girl. And yeah, I just wish that Crystal, in the moment when it happened, that when Garcelle was just like, yeah, I feel like whatever you were going to say, whatever Sutton answered, you were going to say this. I just wish that Crystal would have thought, like, Garcelle is trying to bait me into this conversation and to, try to trip me up. And whatever I'm going to say, she's going to say it back to Sutton. I just wish in the moment Crystal would have just said, oh, if that's what you think, that's what you think. Let's move on. But no, she gave her exactly what she wanted. And that's where she messed up. And again, they were just throwing punches at Crystal. If I was Crystal, I would have been like, Andy, can we go on a commercial break? I just need to change into my sneakers. Like, absolutely not. I'm not going to have everybody coming at me sideways like this. I would have just started swinging like, wait, hold on. Like, fuck these violating words. I'm just going to start using my hands. Kyle, all of a sudden, that season 1 Kyle came out. That mean girl Kyle came out. I'm like, wow, Kyle. She was just like, I just feel like you're lying. And I'm just like, oh, Kyle, even though that gets underneath my skin when she acts like that, I'm like, keep going though. At least now we find out that this is the real her instead of always hiding behind somebody else. Crystal, no, Andy, he also goes on to ask Crystal, so let's talk about this fallout with you and like 14 other friends. What was that about? Crystal, again, I think she was trying to make a good point by saying all her friends were looking at her funny once she got casted on the show, but then she kept turning her story over and saying, oh, well, it was after the show. And I'm like, Crystal, again, I'm trying to lean on to your side, but you're gaslighting me at this point. Kyle, she didn't like that. And she was like, so which one is it? Which one is it? Is it before or after the show? And I'm like, ooh, Kyle, if I was Crystal, nope, I would have took my shoe off. Pop. Kyle had all this heat and all this energy to Crystal, but Kyle, if you had the same energy with I was about to say Larsa Pippen. If you would have had the same energy for Lisa, Larsa, Pippen, Rinna, then maybe you wouldn't be in the situation that you are with your sisters, right? But no, you could direct all this heat towards Crystal, but Lisa, she goes after your sister who's right there in the same room as you, and what do? Just quiet. It's just so interesting how Kyle picks and chooses her issues and her battles. Eventually, Crystal, she was just like, what you're not getting is that this is how I said it. I said it like this. And I'm like, go ahead, Crystal, keep going. She was putting up a good fight, and I'm like, interesting. It'll be interesting to see where Kyle versus Crystal goes on to next season. I feel like Crystal, I don't know, I feel like she just needs another season in order to like really get the real Crystal out. Like she's almost there. I think that she just needs a push, like a battery or something. Crystal also goes on to say that she felt a little bothered by Sutton's story that she told her about having a black girl, a redheaded girl, an Asian girl, all in a pool. They talked about it and that she felt a little uncomfortable with that conversation. Sutton, she opened up and she was like, yeah, we talked about it and we discussed it and I could have worded it a little bit differently, but moving forward, I know better. And with Crystal, I just wish that she would have just said these dark comments in the moment back then. Now obviously she's just trying to protect Sutton's image. If Sutton did in fact say something dark in the past, she's just trying to protect her friendship and her image because she knows that the second that she exposes it, whatever it was, even though the people in the audience lean more towards Sutton, the second that Crystal opens her mouth and she says, yeah, this is what she said in the past, people are not going to be able to let that go and they're probably not going to be too fond of Sutton. So that's what Crystal is also trying to do. But at the same time, Crystal, if she did say something so dark in the past, how can you still be friends with her now? I guess you talked about it with her, but then even then you're letting Garcelle continue being friends with her and you don't even tell her anything. So it's just like, I don't know. Garcelle is also telling her, yeah, if she did say something racist, how come you don't tell me? Because obviously you're making me look like a fool being friends with her and just, not letting this be okay instead of addressing it. So it's just like, Crystal, did she really say something? Did she not? I do believe that Sutton did say something. It's just we'll never know at this point because Crystal is trying to cover up for her. Eventually, Larsa, Pippen, and Cinderella, they butt in and they're like, how come this is okay? How come this is okay that they're making up? How come this is okay? This is not okay. And I'm like, but it's okay when you, Erica, Lisa, Dorit, and Kyle, it's okay for all of them to make up and to have each other's back. But the second that Crystal and Sutton and even Garcelle kind of mend fences and move forward, it's a problem. No. So then a giant screen shows up with Diana on it. She's doing this reunion virtually because she's sick, evidently, but she's in Hawaii and she looks good. And I'm like, interesting. But as soon as I would have seen the TV and if I was Garcelle or Sutton, I would have been like, give me the remote. Turn this shit off. I would have been like, let me just go for a walk. I just need to stretch. Oops, let me disconnect this. But Diana is there and Andy, he wasted no time to grilling her about Jeffrey Epstein, her book, and if she's a madam and all this and all that. Her tongue was actually present at the reunion as well. And Diana, she went on to say, well, I don't really know why people are so bothered about my book. My book did a lot of differences in a lot of people's lives. And I'm like, what kind of differences did it make in people's lives? But okay, so they continue on with the Jeffrey Epstein. And if she knows him, her excuse is, well, I used to be a refugee, so there's no way that me and Jeffrey could have ever met each other or been in a photo or any of that. And I'm like, interesting, Diana, interesting. But she goes on to say that she's also not a madam. I am not a madam. I don't know where these rumors have came from. I just know a lot of people. I'm friends with a lot of celebrities. And I'm like, okay, fine. So then Andy, he asks Garcelle, Garcelle, do you think that Diana was behind all these bots that were attacking your son Jax online? Garcelle, she was just like, well, yeah, I have an ongoing investigation. But yeah, at some point, I do think that Diana was involved in that. And I'm like, well, Diana, what do you have to say? Diana, she's like, I really am ashamed that you feel that you could look at me as such a low person like that. You have such low standards of me. And I'm like, Diana, you brought those low standards on yourself. But okay, so Diana, she tries to say that she felt a little, some type of way that Jax had posted this threat that he had gotten that was just way out of line on his social media with Diana's name on it. I believe at the very end of the threat, it was just like, oh, keep Diana's name out of your mouth or something like that, right? Or whatever. And Diana, she's blown it out of proportion. Like, I see what Diana is trying to say that, yeah, maybe you could have put my name, you could have scribbled my name out or whatever. But Diana, this is about Jax, a child. Did you completely forget the rest of the message? Like, yes, it's wrong that your name is in the message. I understand that you feel some type of way about it, but let's not forget everything else in the message. Like, you're only focusing on your name. But again, the rest of the message is the bigger picture. It's not like the rest of the message was just like, oh, hey, Jax, how are you doing? No, it was some pretty foul things. And the only thing you care about is your name. So she continues on by saying by having her name attached to this post that Jax posted is also going to send threats to her family, and her family is going to be in danger. And I'm like, Diana, don't you think that that's also what Garcelle is trying to protect her family from? Like, again, all she's thinking about is her and her family. The better thing that, Diana, that you should have done is told Garcelle, you know what? I understand that my name is on this post. I get it. But you know what? Everything else on the message is much more important than my name. And you know what? I'm going to team up with you, and I want to clear my name because I didn't do this to you or your son. So I'm going to help you out on this investigation, and I'm going to be there for you and Jax. But no, you made this about you, yourself, and your family. And again, you're crucifying Garcelle for doing the same thing. And at the same time, I'm pretty sure that Jax, he's not thinking about you or Diana. He probably doesn't even know who Diana is. He's probably looking at his phone like, wow, you know what? Let me focus on Diana. No, I'm pretty sure that that's not the case. I'm pretty sure he's looking at the rest of the threatened message that is much more awful than just simply your name. And I'm pretty sure that he can't really think in the moment. Like, again, Diana, just really, really awful. And then Garcelle, she's trying to explain that. And then here comes Kyle. Kyle decides to jump into this conversation that has nothing to do with her and, of course, defend Diana. She tells Garcelle, Garcelle, I feel like what Diana is trying to tell you is that she wishes that Jax could just take down his post, scribble out her name, and then repost it. It's as simple as that. I'm like, Kyle, you cannot be serious. But then again, it's Kyle. She's serious. And I'm looking at her like, oh, Kyle, okay, so then Garcelle, she looks over at her and she was just like, you can't be fucking serious. Like, are you really fucking serious, Kyle? And I'm like, yeah, I agree with Garcelle. Like, Kyle, come on now. Like, this is just another new low for Kyle at this point. And Kyle, she was just sitting there like, well, yeah, I mean, that's it. And nobody said anything. Garcelle, she was just like, so what? You want me to take down the post and protect Diana? You want me to protect everybody here? You want me to save everybody? And of course, nobody said anything except Erica. Erica, her smart ass mouth. She was like, well, you don't need to save me. I don't need any saving. And it's so interesting that earlier, just a couple of seconds ago, how Andy asked Erica, oh, do you think that Diana was being shady when she donated to the widows and orphans? And Erica was just like, no, I mean, since we're always talking about it, somebody needs to do it. And I'm like, interesting how you say that for Diana, but let it have been Sutton who had donated anything to the orphans or widows. I'm pretty sure that Erica would have been so upset about it. I'm pretty sure that Kyle probably would have thought it was shady. It was just so interesting and very telling how Kyle, Lisa, Erica, and even Dorit didn't say anything to Diana about her behavior or what she was saying to Garcelle. Like, maybe you should hear it out from Garcelle's perspective. Maybe this isn't all about you. Maybe this is about Jax right now. Maybe this isn't about you and your family. It's about Garcelle and her family. Nobody said anything, but just a second ago, they were all just jumping all over on Crystal like piranhas. But again, in this conversation, when it needs to be done, nobody says anything. So, and then Kyle, when she does open up her mouth, she does it in defending Diana. So it's just like, Garcelle lets us know that Diana has threatened her with legal actions because of Jack's post that he kept up there with Diana's name on it. Diana said, well, if anything happens to my family or to my kids because of that post, I'm going to come after you, Garcelle, legally, and I'm not going to care about any Bravo contract. And again, Diana, how selfish of you. And again, you have already showed your true colors this entire season, but this specific reunion, yeah, it's pretty much over for you. And if I was Andy, I would have been like, yeah, we could turn the TV off and just roll her out of here and never have to see her again. Diana, again, just very, very disgusting. Instead of making it about Jax, a child, you're making it about you and your family. Like, you know, and Garcelle, she's like basically pleading at you like, look, my son is going through all of this and you still don't see it and you will never see it. And neither will the rest of the cast, obviously, because they all stayed quiet. And It was just pretty unfortunate and very disgusting of Diana. Garcelle, eventually, I would have done the same thing. She said, yeah, we're done with this conversation. We're done with this conversation. We're done. I don't feel like speaking to you. That's that. And it's over. Andy, he was just like, Diana, what else do you have to say? Diana, she went on to say that something happened in her family, blah, 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 all this and all that. Again, making it about herself instead of the prime, issue right here, Jax. But okay, so then eventually Garcelle was just like, you know what? I don't even want her to talk to me or anything or whatever. I just want to know why she's so obsessed with me, because she's the one that constantly is coming at me on social media and now legally. Like, what is this? What's going on? Why is she so obsessed with me? Diana, she thinks that her response was cute, and she was like, "Oh, it's because you're so gorgeous." I'm like, ugh, how condescending, but. That was that. I'm like, oh, what a better way to end the first part of the reunion. I wish that Andy could have just rolled the TV out. I really felt for Garcelle though. Like, Diana is one thing, but Kyle, for you to jump in and defend Diana when Garcelle was literally just defending you in the finale last week, and she was actually there for you, saying maybe this whole thing about your sister is just a cover up because, Erica, she's trying to pull focus away from her. She was just there in your corner, and this is what you do to her. Like, you don't deserve a friendship like Garcelle, honestly. And I see why Kathy is more closer to Garcelle, but I don't blame her. But again, Kyle, just, Diana, again, one thing, Kyle, you, a whole other thing. But I guess we'll see what happens on part 2, part 3. How many parts are there? 4? Either way, we'll see what happens. Kathy, you need to hurry up and get here. Like, come on now, we need backup. But let me know what you all thought about the part 1 of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.